Dale Earnhardt Jr. has spoken out against NASCAR and is begging with the organization to improve its superspeedway package following the 2025 Daytona 500, especially since Dale Jr. intends to expand his team to the Cup Series someday. Will NASCAR make compromises for one of its legends? While the Great American Race did have some entertaining moments, Earnhardt Jr. believes the racing could be far better if NASCAR made a few changes. The issue that I have with the current product at Daytona and Talladega and Atlanta is that all of the series, no matter what series, ARCA, Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup, they all suffer from this. We have choked everything down and put so much drag on the bodies that they can't get away from each other, Earnhardt Jr. proclaimed. A good car can't drive away from a bad car. An experienced driver can't distance himself from a driver who doesn't have the experience. Years ago, you'd bring a car down and pick any type of racing. You'd bring a car down there, and if you were fast, you drove away from the slow guys. You break the draft and they're inexperienced, and their car's inability to perform would separate the field. We don't have that anymore. The cars are so draggy now, and the engines are so stifled that everybody's all over the top of each other. That just leads to some of the silliest crashes that are just so unnecessary. This has been going on for a long time, over a decade. While Earnhardt Jr. and S. opinions about superspeedway racing may appear grim from one of NASCAR's strongest voices, they are not entirely negative. He believes it all comes down to giving drivers more control on tracks like Daytona. It's really simple. It's not hard. We don't need to blow it up. We just need to get in a room and reimagine the drag-to-power ratio, the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee added. How the cars react to each other and around each other. We need to figure out a way to allow the car. We've got to change the drag-to-power ratio to where the delta between what a car can do by itself on the racetrack versus in the pack isn't such a big range. What happens now is, when you take that car and you do put it in draft, you can't get out of line unless you know you've got a lot of help, because the car has so much drag, it's just going to fall on its face. That's the core of the problem. That is the core of the issue I have with the way the cars race at Daytona and Talladega. We have slowed them down to try to keep them from flipping up into the air. They have a ton of drag with the spoilers and the way the bodies are. The motors don't have any. They don't have enough power. Basically, the motors probably, they want to run the same engine everywhere. They don't want to run a special motor for Talladega and Daytona. Cost-wise, they want to take, have this sort of same blanket package across the entire series. So now the cars have an enormous amount of drag on them, and they don't run very fast by themselves. They can't get away from each other with all of that drag that they create. I believe we need to reimagine the way that we're doing this. All the series suffer from this. While the change may result in less side-by-side racing, Earnhardt Jr. feels fans would welcome it if it returned courses like Daytona and Talladega to their original racing format, when drivers could pull out of line and make a move on their own. It may mean that we'll see less 3-wide racing. It may mean that we'll see less 2x2x2 all the way through the field. But I think it might end up taking away the fuel issue that we have, which we have to fix. We have to get away from fuel saving. God dang, Earnhardt Jr. stated. The lead cars are out front running 60% throttle. The rest of the field, everybody further on back, less and less throttle. Once they're 3 wide, there's nowhere you can go. You don't want to be the asshole that's the only one out there driving up through the middle of the pack, making it 4 wide. We have to fix this. We cannot smile and go, hey man, everything's fine. We've got to fix it. But the good news is, I don't believe it's a very big problem to fix. Try to figure out how to get the Cup cars to change the way that they run these races. But I think it's there. I think it's achievable. I don't think that it would take a ton of real hard work. I don't think you've got to totally reinvent the car. I think whatever approach we take is a math problem between drag and power. And I think that you can apply it once you kind of understand what you're trying to do and what needs to happen. However, NASCAR should listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the topic, as he speaks for many fans, racers, and media members. A change would be good after the past few years of superspeedway racing, especially considering the fact that JR Motorsports are looking into more Cup races this season. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got his first experience of NASCAR Cup Series racing as a team owner in the Daytona 500, where JR Motorsports fielded Justin Allgaier. Following Allgaier's top 10 finish in the number 40 Chevrolet, Earnhardt Jr. is more interested than ever in gaining a charter and extending his business into the Cup Series full-time, rather than just competing in the Xfinity Series. On the most recent episode of the Dale Jr. Download, the two-time 500 winner described what it would take. People are a bit confused over how this process could work for the charter stuff. I don't know if I've just given some mixed signals about where I am in terms of what I would invest or not invest or what I expect. So here's how it would work. Earnhardt Jr. stated, "A charter, let's just assume, and I may be naive, maybe it ain't this simple. Let's just say a charter is $40 million. Damn, that's a lot. I was hoping that a charter would cost me $25 million, but you're going to tell me the one that's available today is $40 million. What would need to happen is an investor, somebody who wants to partner that. I'm not going to give you $40 million for that charter. I'm not doing that. That's not something I'm interested in doing. That's my prerogative. Now, I would invest $5 million or $10 million in the right situation. $5 million, absolutely. Maybe more of my own money. So there's 20% ownership. That's probably a very comfortable place for me to be. When I look at an NFL franchise, there are majority owners, but there's also a lot of minority people as well. I believe that owning around 20% of the charter would be satisfactory for me, personally. Evidently, Earnhardt Jr. believes that what he has developed at JR Motorsports with his sister Kelly Earnhardt Miller is valuable to any potential investors and could be what distinguishes them from other teams in the Cup Series. I believe that I'm also bringing to the table my sister Kelly and our history of owning and operating this race team, JR Motorsports. Our success stories, not only on the racetrack, but in licensing, marketing, engagement, activation," Earnhardt Jr. added. "I will promise you that most every single partner that we've ever had that has ever left and went somewhere else has come right back and said, 'Y'all do it better.' So, we're bringing all of that to the table. The rest of the money has to come from somewhere else. That has to come from somebody who wants to invest in the idea that that $40 million charter is going to be $100 million, or $150 million, $200 million, or $250 million down the road. 2 years, 10 years, whatever that is. Which I believe that's true. I believe that's real. I believe that's a possible. I wouldn't put 5 or 10 million into this if I didn't think it was going to turn into something more." Earnhardt Jr. understands that bringing JR Motorsports to the Cup Series would require a significant investment, and he is not asking for any favors. Still, it's clear that he's more willing than ever to pursue moving ahead with his racing team right now. I'm not wanting it for free. Not at all. I don't expect that. I don't expect Nascar to, I don't expect the charter ferry to walk in here one day and just drop one in my lap. That is not what I think should happen, or what I think will happen, the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee stated. I'm willing to invest real money into it, absolutely, especially when I know that it's a win across the board. If Dale Earnhardt Jr. brings JR Motorsports to the NASCAR Cup Series, it will undoubtedly be a welcome addition. It remains to be seen whether this will happen, but it is something that both fans and sponsors would like to see, don't you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.